It's Monday, which means we got another episode of Mock Draft Monday here with the High Low Sports Podcast. And of course, right out of the gate, there's going to be no surprises. Fernando Mendoza, we're still sticking with number one overall. Absolutely no surprises, no hot takes here. Until proven otherwise, we are going to stick with that. So once again, the draft will start at pick number 2. The New York Jets could use literally everything on the list. What I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and give them Ruben Bain. I think with the arm measurements, the difference with the combine showing some of them smaller, I think Ruben Bain, they're going to make the safe pick here. They're going to take Ruben Bain. Arguably edge one if there wasn't so much talk about arm length and if Arvell Reese and crew didn't tear apart the combine, I think it would be Ruben Bain comfortably. But we're going to say it comes rounds back to form, kind of like with Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson a few years ago. It still ended up being Will Anderson. Pick number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. This is where it gets very interesting because once again, they could use a little bit of everything as well. I like Francis Mauigoa at offensive line. They need the help. Defensively, they need some help as well. I think this is an area where we can see them go Arvell Reese, the linebacker, pass rusher, edge, just versatile player they could use on their defense. They can move them all over the place. His ability to track the ball, his catch-up speed, his make-up speed is incredible. If you leave him unblocked off the backside, he will run down the ball carrier. So we're going to take Arvell Reese, just a versatile chess piece. They just the Cardinals are in a spot where just take good players, figure out the rest later. Tennessee Titans. I want to give them Jeremiah Love. I really, really do, because I think that'd be a lot of fun. Put him in the backfield with Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears, give Cam Ward yet another weapon. That's been a lot of rumors about that. We're going to go with David Bailey, though. Robert Saleh, the new head coach. He's got to take an edge player. We know how much Robert Saleh loves his D lineman and what he's been able to do in San Fran with those rotational people, those guys they've rotated in and out of there over the years. David Bailey just sitting there on the board at 4. I think they're going to take him because they got to get after CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence, tackle Jonathan Taylor because the Colts quarterback situation is a mess. But I think David Bailey is the pick here for Tennessee. New York Giants at pick number 5. I want to give them Jeremiah Love too, because there's rumors about them wanting to pair some with Cam Scatterbo, kind of open things up a bit. But I don't know if I think at 5 that might be a little rich for him. Harbaugh's this isn't his first rodeo, and despite Joe Shane still being there, Harbaugh's calling the shots. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to give them Sonny Styles, the outrageously athletically gifted linebacker at Ohio State. Similar to Arvell Reese, I think he's going to be more of an off-ball backer. Put him at Mike, put him at Will. Just let him hunt. Have Dexter Lawrence and crew keep linemen off him and just let him fly all over the field. Let him basically be a bullet. So Sonny Styles going at pick number 5 is a versatile chess piece for them. Pick number 6, the Cleveland Browns. I think the sexy pick has been Carnell Tate, and they do need the receiver help badly. But the way the draft has fallen, I think they will be smart here. I think they're going to try and rebuild that offensive line with Wyatt Teller gone, Joel Bitonio getting older, Jedrick Willis not working out, the Conklin not working out. They're just going to rebuild the offensive line. So we're going to go with Francis Mauigoa. They do have that other first-round pick later in the draft, so I think here they'll take offensive linemen. Just keep it safe. Washington pick number 7. How much fun would it be to give them Jeremiah Love? But I'm looking at Dan Quinn. If Sonny Styles is here, I think he would wet himself and sprint that card all the way he would sprint that to Roger Goodell. But still with how it fell, Caleb Downs makes a lot of sense here. They need defensive help. They have invested in defense, but they need the help. They also need offensive line help. They could use Carnell Tate, another receiver. We're going to give them Caleb Downs. So I think Dan Quinn's going to look at him and be like, yeah, I could move him all over the field. We're going to have a whole lot of fun here, like what he did with Micah Parsons, but from a different perspective. New Orleans at pick number 8. Receiver makes a ton of sense. If they didn't just bring in Travis Etienne / Achan, whatever you want to go by now, Jeremiah Love would make a lot of sense here as well. But I like Mansour Delane keeping the LSU kid in LSU. They do need some secondary help a lot. Mekhi Lemon adding some versatility at receiver. I know they want Carnell Tate to go here as well. I'm going to go ahead and give them Mansour Delane. I think they're going to they need to help with that secondary. Losing Marshawn Lattimore a couple of years ago, they just trying to inject some youth into that defense, which got really, really old. Kansas City Chiefs, pick number 9. Jeremiah Love would be the perfect pick right here if they didn't bring in Kenneth Walker. I think I could still see them doing it, but there's also the Rashee Rice issue. Patrick Mahomes coming back off of injury. Travis Kelce, much, much older now. I think Hollywood Brown's gone. I really could see them looking to invest in some receiver help. Carnell Tate makes a lot of sense here, but I really like Jordan Tyson. I think he could do a lot of good work in that offense. I think I have him in receiver 1's kind of very clouded in this one. I think all 5 of these guys here are really good, plus Kevin Concepcion's really good. I do have Jordan Tyson at receiver 1 by a slim margin, so that's where I'm doing with the Chiefs. A little bit more versatility receiver. Cardinal Tate's definitely more of a true outside guy, I believe, where I think Andy Reid and them could have a little bit of fun moving Jordan Tyson around. So that's where we're going to go there. Could be Mekhi Lemon as well. They're all very similar. Cincinnati, pick number 10. If the draft falls this way, Spencer Fano makes so much sense. I know they need defensive help. Jermod McCoy is there. Kendrick Sadiq at tight end would be great. Keldrick Falk. I feel like they should just be like, all right, the defensive players we were hoping would slip to us are gone, but Spencer Fano is there. We will continue to build this wall in front of Joe Burrow. We will continue to lean into the offense, and we'll find a way. Zach Taylor somehow try and make this work, keep him upright, and hopefully Joe gets rid of the ball quicker in some of these situations. But Spencer Fano, just to continue to refortify that line, because even with this draft, chances of them becoming a defensive team and rebuilding that defense are a little slim. So I think they'll lean a little bit more into the offense there. Pick number 11, the Miami Dolphins. I kind of like Cardinal Tate here. They did just get rid of Jalen Waddle. Malik Willis is in there. Mekhi Lemon makes a lot of sense. We're going to go with Cardinal Tate, the receiver. They got $169 million in dead cap this year. They need playmakers. You just paid Malik Willis. Tyreek's gone. Jalen Waddle's gone. Devin A-Chain may be gone. If he's gone, then maybe I'd take Jeremiah Love here. But Cardinal Tate makes a lot of sense. They are soft tanking, so we'll give them just a receiver for whoever maybe they're tanking for next year, or we'll see what their plan is. Dallas Cowboys, pick number 12. I know they brought in Javonte Williams. I don't think Jerry Jones will be able to help himself. I think he's going to try and put on an absolute light show. Defensively, I think they can look later in the draft for it. I think Jeremiah Love's sitting there. He's not going to be able to help himself. Arguably the best player in the draft slips to the Cowboys at 12. They pull the trigger in George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, Ferguson, Dak, and now Jeremiah Love. My goodness, I think they're going kind of like the Bengals south. They're just going to try and score 40 at all times and maybe get a stop here or there. The Rams at pick number 13. Mekhi Lemon, I know there's been a lot of smoke to fire with that, but I'm going to go with Kenyon Sadiq, the 4.3 speed tight end who also gets in line as a blocker. I know they've brought in a lot of tight ends in the last few years. I know they probably aren't that's probably not a high point of interest because they had very productive tight end room last year. However, they did run more 3 tight end sets than anybody else in the league, and I think Kenyon Sadiq gives you a whole lot of versatility out of that. They do have the 2 first-round picks, so I think this is – actually, no, they traded one for Trent McDuffie. My apologies. But they spent so much on defense. They are a well-oiled machine. This is a bit of a luxury pick. Just like if Jeremiah Love was there, I think they would have gone with that. Pick number 14, which should be the Raiders, but it is the Ravens, so alas, we will continue with that. Well, they do have their picks. They do have Trey Hendrickson now filling that edge spot. They did lose some offensive line help, so I do think Ione would make a lot of sense. Kind of fill Linderbaum as they reshuffle the interior a bit. I think they're going to just go with arguably the best player available. I'm going to look at them taking. Ooh, you know what? Jesse Minter is there. They do need to kind of retool that secondary, so Jermod McCoy makes a lot of sense. But that's actually a tough one. I might have talked myself into it, Kendra. You know what? We're going to go with the recommendation to break the tie. We're going to go with Ione. They're going to take pretty much the best interior offensive lineman. Losing Linderbaum, they got to shuffle things around in there, so that's where we'll go there. Tampa Bay at pick number 12. Keldrick Falk is a very interesting high-ceiling prospect for them. Did bring in Abuka last year, so I don't think they'll go Lemon. Offensive tackles, they brought in Tristan Wirfs. They've done a good job holding on the tackle spot. I do think Jermod McCoy, they could use some help at corner as well. Keldrick Falk, Akeem Mesidor makes a lot of sense, the kind of a local kid there. Let's go with Keldrick Falk. I think they'll go with I think they're going to look at it like Todd Bowles and say, we need a very athletic pass rusher on the edge to get after, pair them with Vita Vea. And the defense kind of withered a little bit down the stretch. So did the offense, to be fair, but I think they just need to get some youth in there, similar to the Saints, but not as extreme. Just somebody that could get after the quarterback. The Jets at pick number 16, their second first-round pick, courtesy of the Indianapolis Colts, who have no idea what they're doing. Jets, once again, can use everything, but we are going to throw a very fun curveball in this one. We're going to say they go for the reach. They are going to take quarterback Ty Simpson here. There's it feels like a lot of smoke about Ty Simpson. The gap is closer between him and Mendoza than maybe most of us are thinking. That could just be Dan Orlovsky leading the way and others picking up on it, but I do feel like there's a little bit of something there. So for this week's mock draft, we're going to say Ty Simpson creeps his way into at pick number 16. We saw J.J. McCarthy go at pick number 11 a couple years ago. Anything's possible. Detroit at pick number 17, they have suddenly find themselves in need of offensive linemen, and this draft could not have fallen much better for them as Monroe Freeling is right there. I believe it's Decker they lost as well. They still have not replaced Ragnow in the middle. They need to rebuild the trenches. They need their identity when they were at their best was the big boys up front. I think Monroe Freeling will help them there. Minnesota at pick number 18, Kyler Murray coming in presumably to be the starting quarterback. Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, maybe throw in Mekhi Lemon as well, because I think they know they got to make a little bit of noise this year. And if Kyler Murray goes down, you're bringing in J.J. McCarthy again, I think, and then Jordan Addison, how long do you get to keep him around? Same with Justin Jefferson. If this season's a little rough, do you have to worry about moving on from him? Is he going to ask to get out somewhere that could win? Mekhi Lemon really spices up that receiver room. So now you're 3 deep there. You already have a really good defense led by Brian Flores. They cleared up some cap space. Let's throw in Mekhi Lemon, mix up the offense, add yet another weapon for Kyler Murray to hopefully make some noise. Pick number 19, the surprise Carolina Panthers invested a ton of money on the defensive side of the ball, bringing in Devin Lloyd, an all-pro linebacker, paying the house for Jalen Phillips to go with that outstanding secondary that they have too. They were really good on the back end. J.C. Horton's all-pro caliber. Dante Jackson played incredibly well. They were really good on the back end. I kind of don't hate the idea of going with Akeem Mesidor here just to continue to build up that pass rush. I think they do like some of their young offensive players. If we look at receiver, I think some of these guys, Denzel Boston doesn't quite fix. He does a lot of the same things that Tedderell McMillan does. I could see if Mekhi Lemon did slip to the spot, someone like that, someone who plays a little bit different type of receiver. But we're going to say they continue to lock in on the defensive end and go after Akeem Mesidor. Just really put him opposite Jalen Phillips. Just cycle in those guys to go chase down Tyler Shuck, Baker Mayfield, and whoever's playing quarterback for the Falcons. Pick number 20 for the Dallas Cowboys. This is where I think they will go towards the secondary. They do got to replace Trayvon Diggs. Bland has been injured ever since he started leading the league in pick sixes, so we're going to go with Jermod McCoy. Works out very well for them. They get a luxury pick early and still get a very good defensive player late with McCoy with pick 20. Pittsburgh at pick number 21. New coach in town with McCarthy. I don't really know what their plan is. They haven't really the receiver, they're pretty solid, I guess. Running back, I don't know who's playing quarterback for them. If Ty Simpson was here, do they go there? I doubt it. I don't think receivers at the top of their wish list either. Caden Proctor would make sense just to continue to load up that offensive line. Edges and defense, they just got to get younger at all steps of defense as well, all levels. I really do like Jacob Rodriguez, and I think he is going to be a late first-round caliber player. I just don't know if he will actually go there. Anthony Hill, I think, is going to be a very, very good player as well. Edge, it would be if Mike Tomlin was still there, I'd almost guarantee plug in one of the defense, either edge, either Peter Woods or TJ Parker. But since he's not there, it's McCarthy. We'll go with Caden Proctor. We're going to say they go with the Alabama big boy up front, just whoever's playing quarterback. They've done a pretty good job throwing an offensive lineman in the last few years, building the trenches, and they'll continue to do that. Chargers at pick number 22. Another one that interests me, TJ Parker would make a lot of sense here. Peter Woods bringing some of the big guys in the middle to help with defense. Dylan Tieneman, they could use the help on the secondary. Caleb Lomu, just continue to build that absolute wall. Try and just make it an injury-proof wall in front of Justin Herbert to the best of their ability. Gosh, that would be funny. Kick one of them into guard. You know what? We're going to do it just for the memes and for fun. They continue to invest in that offensive line like no other, trying to make it injury-proof. And somehow the Chargers curse will still have them injured. But at least the thought's still there. It's the idea. I like the idea. Philadelphia. This also depends with the A.J. Brown potentially trade rumors. We'll see. Hollywood Brown is there. Tight end, not really a whole lot there. Quarterback, not looking. D-line, they're always really good at. Secondary, they could use the help. Maybe Dylan Tieneman. They don't really have a lot of weaknesses. Offensive line here. Gettings Dunker is such an offensive lineman name. And from Iowa too, that is such a fit. But we're going to give him Blake Miller out of Clemson. We know how much Howie loves the big school guys. Normally SEC guys, but with Blake Miller being the best one, we'll go and send him there. Cleveland to pick number 24, another situation of they don't really know what they're doing, so they could take just about everything. We gave him a receiver earlier, so let's see. Actually, we gave him an offensive lineman earlier, excuse me. So I think receivers on the board. I like Denzel Boston. I think he's climbed up a lot of boards. He's a great contested catch receiver, high points it, very back shoulder fades, very not quite as smooth as Tedderell McMillan, but I think there's I saw a little bit of comparison there. Haven't dove quite as deep on him yet, but I like what I've seen so far. I'll say Denzel Boston goes there to the Browns. So they do get a playmaker to go with an offensive lineman. The Bears, yeah, this one, the suggestion is spot on with this one. Peter Woods makes a ton of sense. They need to make sure they can stop the run. and get after the quarterback. Edge, I don't love the guys that are currently there, and they brought in a little bit of edge pressure, so we'll go with Peter Woods. It was a top 10 pick coming into the year. A lot of people's draft boards can provide some rush up the middle. I like Peter Woods, just some depth in the middle. Buffalo. Receiver, I like these guys a lot, but I just can't see. I really see Buffalo as a trade back candidate here for sure. Offensive line, they always are good there. I kind of like TJ Parker here because they do know defensively they want to get a little bit stronger. Corner, Avian Terrell would help a lot. They did have a up and down secondary, but they really got to find a way to stop the run. So we're actually going to give them Caleb Banks, the big boy, out of Florida. They need to find a way to stop the run. That was their huge Achilles heel last year. You know what? I have retracted all that for the Matt Milano injury prone for all those same reasons. CJ Allen, the linebacker out of Georgia, they need to, like I said, they need to stop the run. So I think they're going to look at the linebacker level and say, we need to make some changes here. 49ers, offensive line. That is where we're going to look first. They agree with me there because outside of Trent Williams, who also they're trying to figure out the signing him, they need some bodies in front of Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. We're going to take Max out of Arizona State, best offensive lineman on the board. Although, don't get me wrong, Gettings Dunker, I will find a way to get him in the first round one of these times, just not quite yet. Houston, the one thing they don't really need is secondary, and the best players on the board are secondary. They really need offensive line help for the most part, but I want to put Gettings Dunker here, but I won't do it yet. I feel like that is a second-round guy as of right now. Defensive linemen, they don't really need edge. Interior D-line definitely helps. Secondary, they're really good. I'm doing it. I'm putting Gettings Dunker in the first round. I don't care. They need offensive line help very badly. I think he's going to climb up a lot of boards. Iowa does tight ends, offensive linemen very, very well. So we're going to put in Gettings Dunker, not including Robert Gallery. We won't count that for the OGs who know. I like this one because they already have done the work for me. Avian Terrell, they need corners, trading Trent McDuffie, losing Jalen Watson. Kansas City does a historically good job of developing their own defensive backs, bringing them in, developing them. So I think they're going to do that here. Avian Terrell, outstanding talent that they'll put a corner there. Miami Dolphins at pick number 30. Kind of a luxury pick here. You did just trade Minka Fitzpatrick, Dylan Tieneman, who I think could go a lot higher. I think he could go as high as the Vikings even, if not higher. Kind of a nice luxury defensive pick there that I think they have a lot of holes. They have a lot of holes. This will help kind of fill the Minka Fitzpatrick hole as well. New England Patriots at pick number 31. Offensive line, it could definitely be key here for a little bit of depth. Edge, they didn't rush the passer overly well. TJ Parker is sitting right there. That seems like a whole lot of fun, honestly. And I also feel like Vrabel might lean into the offensive line part of it a little bit too. But at the same time, they love Will Campbell. So you know what? TJ Parker it is. They're going to add some depth to get after the rush. You know how much Mike Vrabel's going to love that. Seattle with a bit of a luxury here as well. I think secondary took a little bit of a hit, so I think they would look at corner. Colton Hood would make a lot of sense. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. We're going to take Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. We're going to take the safety, pick him with Nick Emanwari, replacing Kobe Bryant. A lot of versatility in that there. You still have Devin Weatherspoon. They're just going to continue to have versatile pieces all of that secondary. So this is what we have for this week's Mock Draft Monday. Let us know what picks you like and which picks you dislike down below. Ohio State continues to really control the first round, but let us know down below what you think, and we'll see you all again next week.